This conference will now be recorded.
Hello everyone, good evening. This is Kiran, the trainer. Thank you for joining this quick demonstration class on API automation testing using Postman tool. Can I have a quick confirmation if I'm audible to all of you?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, thank you. Let me also share my screen. Mm, I hope my screen is also visible. Okay, and I request every one of you to please go on mute. And okay, cool. So thank you everyone who have joined this quick demonstration class on API automation testing using Postman, then Newman, and then introducing the Postbot and Jenkins as well, and GitHub as well. Before we start the demonstration, I will give a quick overview about my profile. My name is Kiran, and I'm the trainer for this course. I come with close to 2 decades of experience in the software testing space, and I have been working on API automation in the last, I would say, 15 years using multiple tools. Postman is one such tool, and extensively have used Postman in my career for most of the customers who are interested in backend API automation. Apart from API automation, I also have hands-on expertise working on performance testing automation, security test automation, front-end automation using tools like Catalan Studio, Selenium, Appium for mobile. For performance, I use tools like Jmeter, Gatling. For security testing, I use tools like Burp Suite, Z-Attack Proxy, Sneak Tool, Wookie Tool, ZenMap, Nmap, etc. I also do accessibility testing using multiple tools in the market, and I also work on DevOps side as well. And so these are the areas where I have got rich hands-on expertise. And I train corporates, I train institutions like this, and share my knowledge with the participants. That's a high-level overview about my profile. And coming to the curriculum that we have designed, I'm sharing my screen. I hope my screen share is visible for everyone. So the course name is API Automation Testing using Postman tool, Newman, which is a CLI plugin for Postman, and Postbot, which is the artificial engine plugin available within Postman tool, using which you can generate scripts on the fly that will reduce the overhead of you doing the work manually. Then I will also talk about integration of Postman tool with Jenkins and GitHub as well. So that's our course title is, and we have made lot of changes to this course to ensure that every time we do a training, it is very close to the realistic projects as well, right? Since I come from corporate culture and I deal with multiple hundreds of clients, I understand the pain points, understand the areas where people face challenges. I've considered all those experiences and devised this curriculum, which is a complete customized course content. Okay, and let me answer a few common questions and then we'll continue. So this course happens Monday to Friday every day. Timings are same the way you are attending the demo, 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. IST, and the course duration is close to 28 hours or so, meaning you can say 1 month followed by 1 or 2 classes extra, I would say. And all the classes are live sessions, and we record these sessions every time when I teach. We also record it so that we give access to the recorded class of that particular day. So you can always go through it the next day if you have some questions. I will also provide the training material to you guys, and the training material looks something like this. So this is a Google Drive folder that I'm going to share with you. This is something that I have completed a couple of days back for my previous batch that I did. Okay, if you see, so if I just go here, you can see these are the dates on which I have completed my previous batch. 28th August is when I have completed a batch, couple of maybe a 1 week back, I would say, right? So this is the entire documentation you receive from me, the training material, the Postman collections, which is the project work, interview Q&A, etc. is the material that you will receive from me. And yeah, so this class happens only on weekdays, Monday to Friday, never on weekends. And timings are same. Timings will not change, guys. Please make a note of it. Even if you miss a class for some reasons, you will have the recording given of that particular day. On a daily basis, you will get it, so you don't have to even ask for it. You can always go through it and join the next class and get your questions clarified. Okay. So before I do a walkthrough of what I have in this particular course, if you have any general questions that I can take now, you can ask me. Anyone has a general question for me?
Hi Kiran, good evening. This is Saranan here. This is my third session with you. If
Okay,
you
nice.
remember me, yeah.
Yes,
So one
yes.
question you mentioned about bot, right? Could you please just in high level tell us like what you like will be showing us on the bot side? Yeah,
Oh,
bot something you mentioned, right?
yes, yes. So Postman has come with this AI plugin, and they call it as Postbot. And what this does is you just give a prompt to it, and the scripts will come automatically. So I will write the prompt, verify if response code is 200, and I press enter, and the JavaScript comes automatically. So based on my need, I can write the prompt, I get the code. That's one way how Postbot will help. Second way how Postbot will do is, if I have written 5 test cases in Postman, meaning 5 APIs I'm testing, when I run it, I get an option where Postman will ask you, shall I run it and automatically add the JavaScripts which are common based on the response of your API? Which means Postman and the Postbot says, I won't add the scripts blindly. I will execute it. I will see your API response. Based on the response, I will add the automated JavaScripts, which you can use next time to validate your API behavior. So that's also done by Postbot. So you don't have to write the test manually or using the snippets. Postman has Postbot, which will do that automatically. That's a feature everyone has to leverage now because Postman itself is giving that feature. Uh, and they have made a lot of improvements to that feature compared to what they did in the initial days when they gave it. So I'm covering even that feature as part of the course. Okay, did I answer your question?
Yes, correct. I got it. With respect
Okay.
to the GitHub, right? So you would show us like how the code is like merged into the GitHub and how to run that API code using Jenkins, right? That's a use case you would be showing here.
Yes, yes. So if I have to push my Postman automation, API automation code into GitHub, there are 3 ways. I'll show all the 3 ways. Then how do I integrate with Jenkins tool? So again, I'll talk about what is Jenkins, how do you set it up, how do you integrate Postman automation into Jenkins will also be explained in depth so that you understand end to end. It's not that, okay, I talk at a high level and leave it. I talk low level, very low level, we will go and talk, meaning very depth. We'll do it practically as well so that you understand, okay, this is how things can be done in Jenkins. And it's pretty easy also. It's no rocket science and no difficulty. But the answer is yes. Whatever I have mentioned in the title or in the course content, everything is practically explained to you so that you can practice it after the class and come back to me with questions so that you can share your screen and say, Kiran, this is where I'm stuck. And we will solve it in the class itself. No offline discussions. We'll solve in the class itself.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, guys, you guys are coming on cam. You can please go off the cam as I'm sharing my screen. Okay, so I'll assume there are no more questions. And if you do have questions, you can always ask me. And
So we also discussed about MFA, I mean multi-factor authentication. Like if we get tokens in the JWT tokens, how to fetch, and so are there scenarios covered?
yes, yes, we can cover them as well. Typically, if I have to extend the question and answer it, I will say in one API, I will get an access token. And in the second API, I have to refer this token so that I can continue my second API execution, third API, fourth API, because they need the access token or JWT token from the first API. So how do you achieve it using API automation in Postman will be explained definitely in this course. And that process is called as API chaining. And I have done that earlier, and I have done that earlier batches also. So we'll do it in this batch also.
So usually when we wanted to log in into some site, especially corporate site, they authenticate using our credentials, right?
Correct.
So many of the times when we click that, say some app in our SSO, you click on it, automatically your authentication is done in the backend, and then you directly get launched to the uh, site. So, but to automate that in our automation, so I don't know. So, like, do we handle such scenarios? I mean, how do we handle it, and will that be covered as part of this course?
Yes, yes. From a backend API's perspective, the answer is yes. We are going to cover that.
Okay. Thank you. So, do we also cover some JavaScript? I mean, maybe very minimum, but do you also have some JavaScript tutorial where we will get more idea on automating APIs?
Okay, so the answer is no, actually. I don't teach anything on JavaScript. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to learn JavaScript and enroll in the course if you are interested, because learning JavaScript is optional in this course. I'll tell you the reason also. JavaScript comes in multiple flavors. And one of the flavor that Postman uses is Chai JavaScript, CHAI JavaScript. And this flavor of JavaScript looks like English. So when we write the scripts, right, we don't write actually, we have the pre-built templates. If you use the pre-built templates and snippets, the code comes automatically. A little bit of customization is needed sometimes. And that customization also I'll show practically where autocomplete feature is enabled in Postman. As you type, you get suggestions and you have to just pick the suggestions and go ahead. This way, Postman says, even if you don't come from programming language background, you can automate your APIs using Postman tool. Unfortunately, in the industry, based on my experience, I'm saying this, people assume Postman as a manual testing tool, but they have not exploited the automation side of Postman tool. So in this course, we are going to exploit the automation side of Postman and the manual testing side of Postman. So you guys are going to definitely get the benefits from that.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so let me go through this. So the entire details are present in this particular website. You guys can go through it. I'm sure you guys have access to it. If not, I'll just give it on the chat. Like, what are the key takeaways you have? What do I get? So I have written everything over here. What do I learn by the end of this course? So maybe I will say by the end of this course, all of you will clearly understand what is an API, what are the HTTP methods, what are the different technologies available to develop APIs, such as REST APIs, SOAP APIs, graphical APIs. What are the different testing techniques you have to learn to uh, test APIs, irrespective of the automation tool. And how do you automate it in Postman, the entire lifecycle of API automation? How do you generate nice HTML test reports or a JSON test reports or an XML test report? How do you integrate it with tools like Jenkins or GitHub? These are the key takeaways of this particular course. And let me give a quick overview of what I'm teaching here. So if you see the course syllabus, I have nearly 13 chapters. If I just scroll down all the way to the bottom, you see we have 13 chapters in this particular course. By the end of 13th chapter, all of you will become an expert. So I'll probably talk at a high level in this quick demonstration class, what I teach, so that you know, is this something I'm looking at, on if you have some questions like, do you teach that or do you teach this in this course? I can probably say yes or no based on the question. So chapter 1 focuses on understanding what is an API, what is the client, what is the server, what is the architecture between client and server, and why should I know that when I'm learning API testing. And when a software is developed in any organization, meaning when a project is being developed, they follow the 3-tier architecture model or a 4-tier, 5-tier, or 10-tier architecture model. So we'll talk about what is this 3-tier architecture model, where front-end systems will be explained, back-end systems will be explained, server and database systems will be explained. And in the client and server architecture, we'll talk about different protocols such as HTTP, HTTPS. Within SSLS, we have, within HTTPS, we have cryptographic protocols like SSL, TLS. Within TLS, we have version 10, 11, 12, 13. Then we'll talk about the different HTTP methods such as get, post, put, patch, delete. Why do we need them? What is the differences between them? Who sends the method? And we'll talk about the request headers and response headers concept, which client sends to server and server sends to client. We'll talk about the response codes and the descriptions. Okay, that's what I have in chapter 1. By the end of chapter 1, you will definitely understand what exactly is client and server architecture, what is a 3-tier architecture model, what are the different HTTP methods we use in a particular project. Okay, that's what I have here in chapter 1. Coming to chapter 2. So chapter 1 is a theoretical discussion where our foundation will be made. Chapter 2 is also a theoretical discussion where we go one step closer to the world of APIs. Here I will talk about the evolution of APIs. So we have remote procedure call based APIs, which are based on XML format. Then we have SOAP APIs. Then we have RESTful APIs. Then we have GraphQL APIs. So GraphQL is from Facebook. REST APIs is from Google. SOAP APIs are kind of outdated, but we'll talk about all these things from a theory perspective. What are the differences between them? Why did the industry create it? Which one are we using in the current organization or in the current market? Which ones I'm going to talk in the course practically? We'll learn all those things in chapter 2. Then there is another way to classify your APIs. We have public APIs, private APIs, we have secured APIs, unsecured APIs, we have authenticated APIs, unauthenticated APIs, consumer APIs, enterprise APIs. We'll try to understand why the industry uses this nomenclature and how does it help me to understand when I talk to my developers. So we'll talk about the classification of APIs. Then we'll talk about the differences between the 3 popular types of APIs: SOAP APIs, REST APIs, and GraphQL APIs. Then we'll go closer on the syntax of an API, meaning we know what is an API, we know how many types of technologies are there in API, but how does an API look like? What is the structure of it? What is the syntax of it when you get it from your developer? We'll talk in detail, in depth about API syntax in this particular chapter. Then I'll show some live examples on the internet, which you can also access to see where REST APIs are there, SOAP APIs are there, GraphQL APIs are there. Okay. So example, if I have to quickly show you, so if I just say go rest.co.in, so many APIs. I'll just show quickly, but don't worry about this. So this is one popular website that people use. Most of the learning professionals use to learn something on how to test APIs. So here I have different APIs on how to test a get API, post API, put, patch, delete APIs. And there's another one, but the website is down now, so I can't show it. Okay, guys, is my screen share visible?
Yes, I can see everything.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I have a message. Thank you. Thank you. So Joy, if you are not seeing everything, Joy says, can you please increase the fonts or size on your screen? Okay. So Joy, what you have to do is on the go-to meeting, somewhere in the corner, top right corner, you will have a diagonal arrow. If you click on it, the screen automatically maximizes on your side. It is not something I have to do from my side. My screen is already big. So here, if you see, I have at the bottom pop out, right? Similarly, you will have something on your side, somewhere on the right side or at the bottom. Try to click on it and the screen becomes maximized. I'm actually showing it on the bigger screen only. On your side, the rendering is small, so it's something that you have to do it. And others also, please do it on your side so that you see the full screen of it. Otherwise, only you see half of the screen and remaining half are the participants and other chatting messages. So you have to close everything. So maybe if this is how the screen looks like, you have to close everything and maximize it. Joy, please do that on your side. Okay, since I have confirmation that my screen share is visible, I'll continue on chapter 3. So when we talk about chapter 3, you will understand more closer in depth about how does the test plan look like, how does the test cases look like, and what are the different testing techniques we have to do for API testing. So usually in manual testing, we talk about uh, smoke testing, retest, regression testing, etc., etc., right? But I'm not teaching all those things because you already come with that expertise. So here we'll talk about the testing techniques which are specific to API testing, irrespective of the tool, right? This is not specific to man. This applies to any tool that you use. So we'll talk about what is response code testing, response body testing, response time testing, response headers testing, interoperability testing, which is like a compatibility testing across multiple browsers, versions, and operating systems. Then assertions testing, where we write JavaScripts. Then data-driven automation testing, where you test the API with multiple sets of test data. So here I will show you the Java functions. Then in another example, I'll show how you can write the test data in a CSV file, which is comma separated values file, and test it. We'll also see how to do performance testing of your APIs using Postman tool. I will also explain what is continuous testing, which essentially means you will create a cron job and tell Postman tool that I will watch a movie at 7 o'clock in the evening. So you execute my automation work at 7 o'clock and send a report to my developer, right? So I'm happily watching a movie, but my execution happens automatically by Postman tool. So that's something I'm going to show you as well. Okay. Then we'll talk about API chaining testing, which is like extracting the token from one API and supplying to other APIs. A question that Murli had, right? Then we'll talk about a plugin called a Newman tool, using which you can run your automation scripts from the command prompt and generate HTML test reports in HTML format, XML format, JSON format, etc. We'll also do some negative testing using these three testing techniques like unsupported HTTP methods, broken endpoints testing, and payload tampering testing. I'll share with you a reusable API test plan and test cases document. So let me show that here. It's there here as well. So when I explain the three-tier architecture model, this is the takeaway that you are going to get from me. And when I explain the API syntax, this is the takeaway document you are going to get from me. And this is the API reusable test plan and test cases. I'll quickly open the document at a high level. You can see how it looks like. And this is the test plan that you can use to refer your course content to make something similar for your project as well. I'll just scroll down. This is how the document looks like. And you have the testing scenarios ready, and we have classified them as positive and negative test cases. And the detailed test cases are also written here if you see. This is what I'm going to explain practically in the course. But I'm giving these documents in advance so that you have it and you know that this is what I'm doing practically. Okay, so these are the documents you are going to get from me by the end of chapter 3 as well. So by the end of chapter 3, the takeaway is all of you will become experts in understanding the testing techniques that you have to do for API automation testing, irrespective of the tool again. And you'll also get access to the test case document, the test plan document, which you can reuse it in your projects as well. And I continuously make changes to these documents with every batch so that you benefit as well. Now, that doesn't mean that my previous students don't get the benefits, because the drive that I have here is same for all the students. So every time they come and check, they always see the updated versions here. So every student who took my course will benefit from this. Okay, so chapter 1, 2, 3 are all theory, but your foundation is so strong that you fall in love with API testing process. I'll take a pause here. Any questions for me?
Yes, I'm sorry, but when does this course start? Next week?
No, it starts today as a demonstration class, and the day one class starts tomorrow itself.
Okay. Will there be a next batch of this training, or is it one by year?
It happens once every 45 days. So the next batch would be around October 2nd week or 3rd week.
Around when? Sorry.
October 2nd week or 3rd week.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Oh, and sorry, another question. If I wanted to take the course because I'm seeing the demo, but I've never found in the website a way to make a payment, for example. How does that work?
Okay. So are you on the WhatsApp group as well?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So you just post a question tagging me. Can you help me with the payment process? I will guide you to our backend team. They will connect with you and they'll help you with the process.
Okay. Thank you so much. That's all.
Thank you. Okay. Now we have chapter 4. From here onwards, it's all practicals, meaning everything will be driven practically using the Postman tool. That's why I have written the word hands-on exercise. Until the last 13th chapter, it's all hands-on exercise, which means the first 3 chapters will help you to fall in understanding or love practically from Postman perspective. So if you miss first 3 chapters, chapter 4 is independent, but chapter 5, 6 will have dependency on theory as well. Okay. So chapter 4 talks about what is this Postman tool, how do we download, how do we set up, how do we log in, how do we sign up, and how can I use it on my browser or how can I use it on the desktop application as well. Okay. So the official website of Postman is just postman.com. So you can just go to postman.com and you can download the desktop application for Windows, for Mac, and for Linux. If you say I don't want to download, what should I do? So you have sign in option on the top right as well. If you click on sign in, you can log in directly here as well. Okay. So we will talk about this in-depth login process, the walkthrough of the Postman tool in chapter 4. It's a pretty small chapter. And chapter 5 onwards, it is going to be more practical, I would say. That's why you see hands-on exercise here as well. So in chapter 5, I'll explain the hierarchy of Postman, where I'll talk about what is a workspace, how many type of workspaces are there, how do we create a workspace, how do we delete a workspace, how do I convert workspace from one category to another category, how can I invite my colleague to join my workspace. So there are different workspaces in Postman, like public workspace, personal workspace, team workspace, partner workspace, private workspace. I'm going to explain the top 3 free workspaces that are there in Postman and how do we create, how do we delete, how do I invite someone to that workspace, to join your workspace, how do I convert from personal to public or public to personal or team, etc. Then we'll talk about how do we create a collection, how do we create a folder, how do we create an API request into that. That's what chapter 5 talks about at a high level. So until chapter 5, it is not specific to any project. But chapter 6 onwards, we are specific to one project, then second project, then third project. So chapter 6, I will pick one project where I will pick either a Swagger API documentation project or a curl project, curl based format project, and we'll start automating that. Right. So there are so many online APIs available for our practice. I'll take one banking application. I might take one e-commerce application. I might take a simple student database application. Explain you the API documentation, what exactly developer is trying to tell you. So I'll wear a developer hat when I'm teaching that API documentation. And we will write the documentation as well. So the documentation looks something like this when I write. So this is the notes I have prepared. And there is also a rough notes that I prepare generally and I give access to you guys. So let me quickly show here how the documentation looks when I write it. Yeah. So this is the first project that I'm going to explain, project 1. So this is how the documentation looks like, which means this is what you expect from your developer. And he gives all this information to you in some document. So I'm not going to just show this document to you. I'm going to do it right for you so that you understand the documentation part. Then I will tell you how to understand it. What is the Okay, I'm muting Santiago. There is some small echo. Sorry about that, but thanks for that. So I'm going to explain you the detailed documentation format and what is the expectation from you and me from a developer. So how do you create the automation part? For that, I'm going to explain what is a collection in Postman. How do I create it? How do I delete it if I want? How do I share my collection with someone else, etc. Then we are going to create a framework where we are going to develop the positive automation and negative automation. Otherwise, I'll call it as smoke test cases and regression test cases. We'll take the curl project as the first project, and we'll take these different APIs. Each API uses a get method, post, patch, delete method as well. So we'll do end-to-end API automation in project 1. That itself will take almost 8 classes. After that, immediately I will take project 2 also in the same chapter. So chapter 1 is so huge, it will take probably 8 classes or 9 classes. After that, I'll take project 2. I'll show you how it looks like when I'm teaching you. Currently, I'm just scrolling down. Yeah, so project 2 is maybe a SOAP API project. So if a SOAP API project is given to you, how do you do the automation in Postman tool? That's what again I cover, which will be a recap of project 1, but for a different flavor of project. Again, I will take project 3. You see here, which is REST APIs, but this time I'm using a Swagger tool. Like this, I will take 3 projects, 4 projects, 5 projects. It won't take long time because first project sets to the expectation and the framework. Project 2 becomes a cakewalk. Project 3 becomes a cakewalk. Project 4 becomes a cakewalk. So I'm taking 4 different flavored, 4 different style projects and showing it practically to you. None of them is theory. Practically, I'm going to show it to you. Okay. In this process, for each project, we are going to validate all these things from an automation perspective, from a manual testing perspective. Okay. Then in chapter 7, we go very depth into automation process, where I'll explain how do we do data-driven automation testing. Meaning, I have one API. Can I test it with different values of test data? The answer is yes. And how would you do that? That's what data-driven automation testing explains. Then we have interoperability testing. So a developer says, Kiran, my APIs are consumed by different mobile devices. So can you test whether your APIs are compatible on iOS device and Android device? Yes, I can show you how that can be done. Another developer comes, my APIs are consumed by web browsers, and browsers, typically come from Safari, Firefox, Chrome, Edge. Can you test if these APIs are compatible on those browsers as well? I will say yes. I'll show you in this process, interoperability testing. Then I'll explain performance testing or load testing of your APIs using Postman tool. Okay? That's a new feature from Postman. When I say new, not yesterday kind of feature, it's been like 1 year plus, but it's relatively a new feature from Postman. We'll also talk about continuous testing or scheduled testing. Okay. Then we'll talk about different assertions. Assertions are typically functional validations that we have to do. And I'm going to show all these type of functional validations practically using JavaScripts. And I'm showing more than the need. The reason is I have faced these challenges in my projects. And I thought it's better I share my knowledge with you so that you get more knowledge on how to approach your assertions. You see, there are so many assertions here that I have taken. I'm not reading them because it's more of a demonstration class, right? Reading them also will not give you any clue over there. Then we'll talk exclusively on API chaining process. We'll talk about end-to-end automation as well. And I'll also show one tool called Postman Interceptor, which is a plugin on Chrome browser, which will help you to intercept the calls from a web application and capture the APIs. Example, if I show one application called abcd.com, and in abcd.com, I have a login functionality. I have a logout functionality. I have a functionality called forgot password. But my developer is not giving me the APIs. So how can I get the APIs on my own using the browser and the web application URL? Using Postman Interceptor, we can capture it on our own. So you don't have to depend on the developer always. That is what I'm going to explain in this chapter 7 as well. By the end of chapter 7, which is so huge, it might take another 4 or 5 additional classes for chapter 7 as well. You will become an expert by the end of chapter 7 itself. So meaning, if you stop my classes also after chapter 7, you can proudly say you are an automation expert in API, because I'm investing a lot of time until chapter 7. But still other chapters are there where I explain project 2, project 3, project 4 from a practical challenges you face in software organizations, because every company is different, every developer is different, every client is different, every challenge is different and unique, right? So chapter 8 is an answer to all those realistic challenges. Example, I'll tell. Your developer says, I have a RESTful API, Kiran. Can you test it? Yes. How? I'll tell you. I have a SOAP API. How would I test? I'll answer. The developer says, I have Swagger 2.0, but in JSON format. Can you test? I have Swagger API 2.0, but it's a JSON link, not a raw text. I have a YAML file. I have a JSON file. I have OpenAPS 3.0. I have a browser application, no APIs. I have a HAR file. I have my work in GitHub. I have a curl command. I have a public JSON link. All these are challenges you face in real industry. And for all the challenges, I have answers practically, and we are seeing that in chapter 8. Okay. Chapter 9 is a simple thing. How do I convert a given API into curl language? And how do I convert the given curl into normal API language? That will be helpful when you have detected a bug in your API and you wanted to communicate to your developer on a technical terminology. So I'll show how that conversion process happens in Postman tool. It's no rocket science. It's pretty easy also. Chapter 10 introduces the concept of Postman. Yeah, chapter 10 introduces the concept of Postman variables. Every automation tool uses the concept of variables, right? So variables like global variables, environment variables, private variables, data variables, collection variables. I'll explain all these variables in chapter 10. How do we create it? What is the use of it? Is it mandatory or optional? We'll see that. Chapter 11 is the Newman plugin, which I'm going to explain. In fact, in project 1 only, I will explain Newman tools. I don't wait until chapter 10 or chapter 9. So Newman is a CLI plugin from Postman, using which you can generate HTML test reports, XML test reports, JSON test reports. So we'll have one chapter entirely dedicated for Newman tool. It's nothing but integration of Postman automation with the Newman tool. One of the desired thing in the industry. If you say I have worked with Postman but have not worked with Newman, it's incomplete, I would say. The industry is expecting everyone to do even Newman also, which is like a helping hand to Postman. And I will also show in chapter 12, how do you debug, how do you troubleshoot the failures, what are the common settings you have in Postman tool that you have to know, so that most of the common challenges can be answered. Chapter 13 is where I'm going to explain in depth the integrations with Postbot, integration with Jenkins, integration with GitHub. But again, I don't wait until chapter 13. When project 1 is explained, chapter 13 is part of it. Chapter 11 is also part of it. Chapter 10 is also part of it. When I explain project 2, again, these chapters are part of it. When I explain chapter 3, again, these chapters are part of it. So with every chapter, I'm going to explain the integration with Postbot. For with every project, I explain integration with Postbot, integration with GitHub, integration with Newman, integration with Jenkins. I will repeat it again for project 2, project 3, project 4 that I'm doing. This way, you will get the recap from me 4 different times, thus giving you more confidence and answering your queries automatically in each chapter. Okay, and that would obviously conclude our course by the end of chapter 13. You all will receive the live recorded classes access, because it's a live class, not a recorded class. We record it and we share it with you, and you get Google Drive notes from me, written by me, and you get a course completion certificate. You can always ask your questions at the beginning of the class, 5 minutes before. Meaning the first 5 minutes is reserved for questions, and you can also ask me questions on the WhatsApp. I will give answers to queries as well. Okay. Even after the course, you can continue to communicate with me on WhatsApp, and I'm pretty much happy to answer queries as well. Okay. That's all I have in this quick demonstration class, guys. We still have 15 minutes. If you have any questions, you can ask me now. Guys, any questions? Please ask me if you have.
Hi, Kiran. Thanks for the demo class. I wanted to ask after the course, say 30 days or how many hours you will be coding. After that, whether we all will be able to take up the API project in real time and do it independently.
100% the answer is yes, Kirti, because uh, see two tangible evidences I can give. One, I trust the way I teach because my training is not theory, it's more on practical, and you'll obviously feel the difference during the classes. Second thing, all the students who completed the previous batches, right? I've done nothing less than 50 plus batches. None of the students in the batch had this concern or a complaint that I'm unable to do it. Probably they say I'm not able to do because I didn't spend too much time practicing. Most of them said, Kiran, yes, I was able to implement. In fact, the few students who said during the course itself, they were implementing parallelly because they are regular to my classes and they're practicing immediately and immediately doing it on their project so that they can ask questions immediately and get the answers. Simply, I will say the answer is yes. Every one of you will become confident, will become comfortable working independently on your API automation project. Because every question you get in real world, I anticipated in advance and I kept it in my curriculum.
Okay.
So
Thank
the
you.
confidence I can give to each of you here. I'm just stopping the screen share, but feel free to ask any questions that you have, guys. It should be more of a two-way discussion between you and me now.
Hello.
Yes.
Well, I'm very fresh on using Postman and API testing. I've been learning the basics, collections, variables, how to write, for example, JSON, etc. Is this course going to serve me, or is it more advanced? Do I need more learning on Postman to do this course, or as a beginner, is it going to serve me as well? Thank you.
Yeah. So you don't have to do any homework to join this course. Uh, I would welcome everyone with plain background to join and enroll in this course because I'm taking care of explaining the basics too advanced in the course, starting from my chapter one. In fact, all the chapters I have created or planned in such a way that with each chapter, we are moving step by step up the ladder so that you become a confident guy in the course.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I see a question from Farheen on the chat. Who should be joining this course? Are there any prerequisites? So Farheen, I would say no prerequisites as such. If you come from normal manual testing background, that's enough. Or if you're coming from normal software engineering background, maybe you are a business analyst or a scrum master or a fresher in the industry, that's more than sufficient. If you're understanding my language today, I think that's more than sufficient, I would say. Even if you say, I don't know what is an API, but still, can I come and join? Is it really going to help me? My answer is 100% yes. Okay. So for the sake of having a prerequisite, yes, I say you should understand the basics of software engineering, like what is SDLC, software development lifecycle, what is software testing lifecycle, what is a test case. If you understand these things, I think that should be good enough so that you won't have any confusions, I would say. I hope that answers your question for him. Okay. Any other questions, guys, from anyone else?
Yeah, Kiran. With the concepts of API, what you will be um, teaching, will we be able to implement it with other tools as well, or it will be strictly with the Postman only, the concept?
Say the first 3 chapters are for any tool that
Okay.
foundation knowledge will have. The next chapters, right? They're all specific to Postman, but I'm not saying that that knowledge you cannot reuse on other tools. Example, again, the answers I'm giving are 90% accurate because I can prove it also. That's what I did. Whatever concepts practically I'm teaching on Postman, you can apply it as it is on tools like Catalan Studio or Rest Assured or tools like Soap UI or Ready API. Another tool is there called Tailend. So all these tools, then another tool is there called Insomnia. They're all replica of Postman tool. So most of the learnings you have in Postman can be reused in other tools as well. When I say can be reused, I cannot say 100% you can reuse it. More than 50% you can reuse it.
Yeah, got it. The concepts and the basics will be similar. Maybe the way we use may differ. Am I right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
It is something like this. Maybe I'll give an example, okay? It is not technical example. So in India, we have so many languages, right? So, uh, so if you know Telugu, Kannada language becomes little easier to read and to understand. If you know Tamil, Malayalam language becomes little easier to understand or to read. And if you know Hindi, Urdu becomes little easier. Or if you know Punjabi, Gujarati could become easier. I'm just taking some random examples. Similarly, in this Postman course, when you learn Postman, there is some other tool in the market which becomes easy for you. And those tools are like what I have said now.
Yeah, got it. Thanks.
Kiranji, one quick question.
Yeah.
Consider, I mean, consider a manager, not an individual contributor or a, team member, but a manager who is going to take up this course. Say, and what will such a person have in store at the end of this course? As a manager, what a person can expect from the content of this course? What will be his or her takeaway? Got my point, right?
So understood. I understand it. So from a manager's perspective, definitely he would understand the technicalities involved in automating it. And the manager understands how easy it is to automate, so he can encourage his team to pick this tool for their projects. Two, what are the integrations we can do with Postman, like with GitHub, with Jenkins, with Postbot, with Newman. The manager understands with one tool when there are so many integrations available, how can we cross collaborate with other tools in the market? How can we leverage that integrations? What kind of reports we can generate? How you can achieve continuous end-to-end full-length automation testing? Those are few of the things practically takeaways for a manager. And maybe from a theory perspective, the manager can understand, okay, to test an API, there are 10 different techniques, but my team doesn't do all these testing techniques. So maybe that's a gap that the manager has found. So the manager is looking more from a top to bottom approach, right? So he understands. Sorry?
Eagles
Yeah,
view
Eagle.
than a
Perfect.
deep driven.
Yes.
Because literally he or she is not going to sit on public void class import driver dot. They are not going to go to the syntax level. They're like unlike the individual contributors. So that's why that made me ask this question.
Yeah, true.
Because
That's
what
true.
happens is, as a manager, when a person goes through the second or third day of the course, wherein you get into the depth of the tool and you start speaking in terms of import, two parentheses and public void class, and then you view the bottom, window where console output logs are available. Will the manager still be able to latch with the progress of the session or not? I was wondering. So that made me ask this question, because a fresher or a 2-year or 3-year experienced person who is going to work as an individual contributor portfolio would really be will be latching more to what you say. But I wonder whether a manager would be able to do that. Yeah, thank you. I got my answer. Thank you, sir.
Cool. Fantastic. Thank you, man.
Yeah, I have a question. I already experienced using the Newman integration with the pipeline. Have you some best practice when we use scanner like regression or we use a new test case? Sorry. Because when we use the Newman as agent in integration with pipeline, we just getting the summary of collection of after we hit like summarize total test case success and failed gitu ya. So how the best practice when we doing the some regression test and doing the new feature test ya, sir.
Okay. So I understand part of it. So okay, let me know if the answer that I'm giving answers your question or not. When we have a very big backend API project, we often end up having around let's say 50 APIs or 100 APIs. And when you automate all these 100 APIs, from a smoke perspective, they would be 100, but from a regression perspective, they might turn out to be 200 combinations. So when you run it via Newman, the time taken to execute all these APIs in the backend, the command prompt, could probably be 15 minutes or 30 minutes. And if the feedback from the management is, hey, the time taken is 30 minutes, that's too high to wait. How do you optimize it? So Newman has a certain best practices that helps us to reduce the timeline to execute as well, because in the report it's generating, you will get the logs, you will get the request headers and response headers, you will get the scripts, you will get the request information, response information. To print everything in the report, Newman will take time. So Newman suggests that if you use a certain flags, like I don't want description, I don't want request headers, I don't want response headers to be printed, then the time taken to execute your smoke test or your regression test will be substantially reduced, and you get quicker feedbacks as well. That's one of the good practices Newman suggests. And in fact, that's a pain point I faced in one of my project. And I have to literally hunt for solutions in the Newman documentation. And I found one nice GitHub page where they have given fantastic documentation. I'll also show that to you in the course as well, how we can leverage that. But that's the answer I have for your question. If I have not answered your question, maybe you'll have to repeat it again.
Yeah, I think it's good. Yeah. But how we separate between regression test and when we create some new feature, so actually we only test the new feature, but the regression test, we just doing the smoke test or because regression test doing there is no changes in the API, but in the new feature there is a new API like spec or the JSON. So we want separate, make sure the existing API is not is working well and not impact.
Yeah. So okay. So you wanted to execute only smoke test in that case and avoid regression testing to be executed. And again, the best practices from Newman has a certain commands which will execute only the smoke test and avoid regression. Or if my requirement is to execute only regression and avoid smoke, even that is possible. So you have a flag called dash dash folder and the folder name. So if you use that, I think that's possible.
Oh, okay, thanks.
So I'm going to practically show that, not that I'm just giving an answer here. We have answers. We will show that to you.
I think it's okay. I get it. I get the point.
Any other questions, guys? And Farhin, I have given an answer for your question in the chat.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, guys, it's 10 o'clock now. That's all I have in this quick demonstration class. The idea is not to explain something in APS immediately. The class starts from tomorrow. Day one starts from tomorrow immediately, same time, same trainer, and hopefully same students. If you have any questions, reach out to us on the WhatsApp group. We will answer your queries anytime today or tomorrow. Feel free to attend my class tomorrow as well. Day one is also free. You can attend it. See, is that something that you are looking for? And if you like everything, please go ahead and complete your enrollments. Thank you very much again for joining this late evening, this
Here,
demonstration.
a quick question, clarification.
Yes.
You will be taking the whole course, or is there anybody else will come up later?
No. It's only one guy. It's only me who does the
Only you
course.
will be taking it. Okay.
Yes, only me.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay,
One more
thanks.
question. One more question. Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
So what is the language that you're gonna use to integrate to write the code when you automate APIs?
JavaScript is what Postman uses, so we use the same.
So there is an option for test when you use APIs, right? Postman. There's an option for if you click on that, then you can write the test in JSON and other languages. So that's what I was referring to. So which language do you use?
Okay, in the test tab, we use JavaScripts.
JavaScript. Okay, that's what I want to know. Okay, great.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, then I'll see you guys again tomorrow. Thank you very much for your time. Stay safe. Good night. Bye-bye.